Welcome to the House of War. Today on Breaking Chains, it is my honor to introduce founder and president Becky McDonald. Welcome.
Thanks. What do you want to know from me?
Well, today we want to start out with a question,
Yeah.
and a very poignant question. COVID-19. How is the War family dealing with COVID-19?
That's an awesome question, and I love to talk to the War family. And I want the War family to know that I believe with all my heart that there is a silver lining in every crisis. And I want us to focus on that. You know, right now there are Fortune 500 companies that are losing 60% of their value. But then there's the toilet paper industry that is making money. And I have toilet paper stories I could tell you all day, but I won't do that. Personally, when I hear about a bug, I, as a doctor's daughter, kind of don't take it very seriously. In fact, Phil and I raised our children overseas, and we had typhoid at the same time and survived. But this is different. This is not personal, this is communal. And so our choices affect other people. And of course, our partners are the greatest affected. There's a crisis for them, and the crisis and greatest threat for them is not so much the virus, because they live in remote places, many of them, and so that's not the real issue. The real issue for them is that they depend on our sales of product, of the beautiful things that they make. They depend on us to sell that for them. And if our sales tank, they do not have a way to put food on their table. When the Arab Spring happened in Egypt, our partners were making glass ornaments. They said to us, "We can't eat glass. Thank you for keeping us alive." And so they were exporting to us. When the Thai coups were happening, tourism dried up in Thailand. But our partners were shipping product to us, and they flourished and grew. But in this situation, if Americans stop shopping, then our artisans, our wounded men and women around the world will not have a livelihood. So we are doing everything we can in the war world to be creative and come up with ways that we can step into this issue and band together. When people come together in a crisis, it's life-breathing. So I want us to focus on that silver lining. I want to assure you, in my heart and my mind, this is a message of hope. We have a rare opportunity. Right now, everybody's afraid. Fear reigns. And now, more than ever in history, we have an opportunity like no other. I've spent my life for such a time as this. Crisis and risk is what we do. We're not afraid. We don't hide. Yes, we need to be wise. We need to be circles of protection. We're taking all kinds of precautions, but we embrace risk. That's what we do. So I dare you, I challenge the War family to rise up and find ways to sow and show kindness. You have to go to the grocery store, right? Duh. So when you're there, when you're checking out, stop and tell the checkout person, "Thank you. Thank you for being here today and serving me. While I was filling my cart with food for my family, I was praying for yours." When you're on the phone with the electric man, thank him for serving you. This is a time when we can have the courage to say things that we wouldn't normally. This crisis will go away, and we'll go back to ignoring each other and not making eye contact and not being there for each other. Don't miss the greatest experience of all. Imagine if we became known as an organization and a people that step into crisis and rise up with acts of kindness and compassion. And so in crisis, we need to come together. Right now in Italy, they're all stuck in their homes. At night, as the night begins, they go out on their balconies and they're singing to each other. So I ask you, what is our balcony? What can we do in this nation to reach out? There's a way greater threat, honestly, than coronavirus or a bug. And it's isolation. It's getting into our homes and shutting ourselves off. Mother Teresa said, there is a greater poverty than the lack of things. It's the poverty of the soul called loneliness. And you know what? We are a third world nation when it comes to loneliness. Do not let this isolate you. Reach out. We can't reach out with hands. I'm not allowed to shake your hand. Pelosi says we shouldn't do the elbow bump. So at war, us girls are doing the hip bump. So if I come up to them with my back to them, we bump hips. We don't bump hips with our men. We do Thai style and bow to them. But seriously, find ways for ribbons of compassion, tiny acts of compassion and kindness that move invisibly where you can't touch. There is a silver lining for us, but I need the war family to bring out the silver. And we have so many ways to do that. We want to bring the house of war right into your home, right into your life. We want to be there with you in that moment. And so we're going to start hosting Facebook parties every week and YouTube videos. Wouldn't you love to have a video of me giving you an update on Sweetie, the baby tied to the pole but no more? Wouldn't you love it if you had a video going upstairs to the U.S. Training Center where our at-risk and rescued American women make spa products? And we have wellness on our minds right now, and here's fair trade soap. When you have to buy soap, buy our soap. We have all kinds of beautiful products made by our rescued and at-risk Americans where we've processed 108 women right there alone. Other things, you could take a tea party, and next time we're going to have one of our U.S. Training Center women come and do a tea party. Now's the time at home to have a tea party. Well, I know because we're all laughing about all the jokes on the internet, right? About the fact that families are stuck in the house together and they're not isolated from each other and they don't know how to get along or have a conversation. And I know that's hard. Surprise, surprise. It's hard to have meaningful conversations. So we actually have a tool for that. We have the war cards here. Each one of these is a question that you can ask. So there's questions in there. One of them is,
what's the mistake you made in your life?
Yes.
And that turned out well. There's one
and I told you need to have that conversation with your kids.
Exactly. Well, and then we were talking too, if you could invite anyone to dinner, who would you ask?
Oh, and I love that. You know who I would invite to dinner? Osama bin Laden's 4 wives. Or Abraham Lincoln. A man who represents freedom. You know, he's the man who's known for the saying that mercy bears much richer fruit than strict justice. And we're all about justice here. But we need to show mercy to each other at this time and acts of kindness. So there's just fun, silly, fun, deep questions in their families. Moms at home, stuck with your kids. We have a way. We have so many fun mom things. I was that weirdo mom that loved it when my kids had a snow day, or overseas we had riot days. Literally, they posted the riot in the newspaper so the kids would have a snow day like that, only we didn't have snow. So I loved that day. We have a social justice kit here where your kids can make things for orphans. We have fun toys. We have finger puppets. We have a kids line that's just wonderful for you moms that are stuck at home with your kids. Or we would love to have you order from our cafe. We just passed our cafe inspection. Wonderful. Surprise, surprise. And you can order sandwiches. We're not allowed to have you come in and sit down right now, but you can come in and get a drink, and we can deliver to those people that you know who are quarantined if you want. So we want to step into your lives. We have all kinds of products that we can help you with and that we would love to share the story with you. And so we will focus on some of those things. But we promise you, War Family, we promise you to love you for better or worse, unconditionally, in sickness and in health. as long as we walk this journey of life together as a family. I thank God for this weird and wonderful timing of all the times in the world that we are facing a crisis of this magnitude right as we're entering a season that we celebrate as a country, Easter, of renewal, of new life, of spring. A story from 2,000 years ago is relevant for today. It's a story of hope. It's a story of renewal. It's a story of life, not death. And so don't go into Easter fearful. Go into Easter celebrating the powerful story of resurrection and new life and hope. We want you to know that we deal with some of the darkest things, and yet we have the greatest stories of hope. So we want you to find your voice, and families, your children are watching you. We learned when we lived overseas and raised our children in a war zone. I literally took my 2 toddler boys outside when they were dropping bombs in the Philippines on their Pentagon and pointed to the planes as they were dropping the bombs and said, look, live G.I. Joes. Because how you react to crisis is how your family will react. So your family's watching. And as leaders in our community, in our faith communities, in our jobs, in our civic circles, in our homes, people are watching us. What I've learned about crisis is that how you react is how people are going to take their cue. So this is the time as leaders in every way to rise up and embrace this crisis and look for the silver lining and bring the message of hope and bring the message of healing in the face of devastation, in the face of fear, and find your voice and reach out with acts of kindness. We love you, War Family, and we're there for you.
One of my favorite times of year is when you come back from overseas. And most people know you spend at least a month or more overseas touring and visiting. And one of the things I love to do is get locked in your office with you and look at your product.
Oh yeah, it's like Christmas.
It is. It is. We always have a lot of fun because we find that you created or picked something or made something that I go, oh, I really like that. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, we tend to wear the same things.
Yeah,
which is why I like your necklace.
Thank you. This one's fun because it is on leather. So for me, I like it a little shorter.
Yeah, my daughter would wear it long.
Yeah, exactly.
But or a choker,
shorten it up even more. We've joked about these earrings, and our boutique manager and I have both joked about them now, that these are the Jen earrings because you were looking for them one day while you were in the boutique.
Because I picked them out.
I know. And you said, but I need the ones that Jen wears all the time. And she went, oh, I know which ones you mean, and went right over and grabbed them.
Well, we're going to have, in one of our times, we're going to have a jeweler in here who I sit with. I don't know how to make jewelry, but I love to sit and watch her love on the women.
Right.
They flock to her, just cuddle up to her, and she teaches them to make jewelry, and it's a precious thing to watch. And I remember the first time I took a jeweler overseas, and she wept, and she said, you mean this crazy craft thing I do has a mission? It saves lives? Because our women, the work of their hands is how they support themselves with dignity. Yep.
Exactly. Well, and we talked too about, like you mentioned scarves earlier, and we've talked about those different things. Tell me about scarves and why they're significant in the House of War, and why we like to have them and the fun things that we like to do with them.
Yeah, we have a lot of partners who make scarves. One of our partners in India, literally they run the scarves on the machine themselves and weave it. And that's where a remembrance line is with the names and the ages and the country and of actual rescued people in our story and in the war world. And one of those scarves has the name La on it. And La was brought to us by his mother, who was a minor when he was 4. And she could hide him no more. And she was being trafficked, but we raised him, and now he's in college getting an engineering degree, and he makes a bracelet that we call the Law bracelet that men and women wear, and it supports his siblings so that they don't have the life that his mother had. But we also, this scarf and many other of our scarves are made by women who are at risk for some reason. They may not be trafficked. That would be a person who, what we call curative, where that's made in a safe house by a rescued person. And then we have preventative. And so one of the first scarf women programs that I got involved in was with a widow. And we love widows. Widows are uniquely precious to the War family because they're alone. And in many countries they are exponentially at risk if they don't have a male person in the house. And this widow had made beautiful scarves and sold a whole container to a European country. They took delivery and didn't pay her, and she went bankrupt. And when I met her, her daughter was, they were weeping, and her daughter was afraid that she was going to have to go into the red light district and support her mom. And we started buying scarves by the thousands from her, and today her daughter has an MBA, she's happily married, just had a child, and she runs her mom's business. And so that kind of full circle, we have thousands of stories of rescue, and but we also care about those people who are in the crosshairs of the trafficker. Something about their story means they're exponentially at risk. And so we step into their lives as well. So that's the scarf, but I have a pin on here. Pins are back in, like Queen Elizabeth, I guess.
Recycles.
And you're supposed to wear them on your purses and on your backpacks and whatever. And, you know, real pearls and real stones. I've got stocking rings on here right now. That's a big deal. We've got tagua nuts going on. I've got brass that came from India, which is hand etched. And so it's fun for us to step into the lives of people and give them a way to support themselves with dignity. You cannot rescue a person, pat her on the head and send her on her way. You have to give her a way to support herself. Over 90% of the women in Cambodia that are picked up in a police raid and sent home without job training get resold. And so just this week, you all know, right here at headquarters, we had a woman hiding in my car. And we had to come together as a staff to find underwear and jeans and cleaning supplies and toothpaste and a toothbrush. And so even right here in our own headquarters, we are a headquarters for 55 countries and over 200 programs. But if a woman runs into our store, we can't say, for safety, we can't say back out on the street with you, sweetie pie. We care, but we don't care. So upstairs in our U.S. Training Center, where all the spa products are made, we have processed over 108 women and children right here in the land of the free. And I love the world. Mother Teresa said, "May God break my heart so wide that the whole world falls into it." I love that expression. I love the international world, but I also care about the land of the free. And when I found out that our children are the #1 risk here, up to 300,000 minors here, we had to step into that as a family at war. And so the product made in America, and we have wonderful products that we have made in America by our rescued American women. And so those are fun products, and we don't tell all those stories because we only tell the stories that we have permission to tell. And we protect, we are a circle of protection, and we are committed to being that safe place. Our goal is to leave a legacy of safe places. We want to be the family that comes around a wounded child or woman or boy and lifts them to freedom. We want to be the people that say, dream. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I sat right here in this room, Jen, with a woman and said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I don't care what age a person is. They can be 50, 80, 2, 12. And she just recoiled from me and said, I've learned never to dream. And I said, start now. So we've seen doctors and lawyers graduate. We've seen one of our training centers now teaches nurses. And we've seen cosmetologists and goat herders and cake decorators and bakers and candlestick makers. We have candles made in America with wonderful scents for every season right here. made by rescued and at-risk women in the United States of America.
We train some of them too, not just to do the amazing spa products, but we also train them in our cafe.
Yes. We built the cafe deliberately so that we could have another tool, another opportunity. Not everybody wants to make jewelry
Right.
while they go to college and get it, whatever we do for them, because we've helped people put their lives back together in every way under the sun. But we wanted to be able to give them a barista certificate so that they could go anywhere in America and get a job at a Barnes & Nobles or a Starbucks. And so rescued men and women could come into our cafe, and we just passed our inspection
Yes.
again, and right now we can't sit in there because of the lovely coronavirus, but we can serve you and we can deliver to your home sandwiches if you know somebody that wants, we cater. And so that is just another opportunity for us to reach into the community and have private parties and catering and smoothies. We have wonderful smoothies. And I like the dirty chai.
Oh, yeah.
Dirty chai sounds horrible. What it is it's chai, and I grew up in Asia drinking chai, so I love chai, but it has a shot of espresso, and that's what I need to start my day.
Sometimes.
Every time, girl. In fact, you usually bring it to me when I don't even ask for it.
Yeah, that's
Thank
true.
you.
Yeah, well, I'm a big coffee drinker because I jokingly have helped improve mocha sales because I drink at least a mocha a day.
Oh, yes.
Preferably a coconut mocha.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know we had coconut mochas. I need to go study the board in there.
Yeah, you may want to
I
check
like
that
the
out.
mango smoothie.
You do.
That's my favorite.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's a fun place to be.
So what other question do you have for me?
Well, I think we're done asking questions of each other for now.
Really? Okay, so at the House of War,
Yes.
we are temporarily not shaking hands or doing elbow bumps
Or
because
hugging.
Pelosi says we're not allowed to get our faces that close. So, woman to woman, girl to
Yes, ma'am.
girl, we do hip bumps.
We do.
But to our men, we bow, Thai style.
Mm-hmm.
So we are taking precautions, but we are here to serve the family of war, and we just want to bring the House of War to the comfort of your home, and we thank you for shopping. We couldn't do what we're doing. I witnessed 4 women rescued from one outreach alone. That couldn't happen without your gifts. And your purchases, if you're going to buy soap right now, buy fair trade soap. Buy fair trade tea. Sip a cup of tea in your home. Thank you for giving and volunteering and shopping at the War Chest Boutique, because that's what supports our men and women around the world. They can make sometimes up to 3 times the income of a man in their country. Some of our artisans are actually wealthy today because we worked with them for 30 years. And now they hire at-risk women because they get it. They were once that girl. And now they hire those kind of women and employ them and help them start their own businesses right next door. They even help create their own competition because they get it. What was done for them, they realize the power of giving people work with dignity. And so they pour back and give back. And some of the greatest heroes of the war world are our men and women around the world rescued with incredible stories of hope and healing. And we help them find their voice and find their passion. So thank you, House of War, and thank you, the family of war. We're here for you, and we want to come to you and enter into your life and serve you.
Speaking of that, we'll be coming into your home again next week. We'll be featuring one of our USTC ladies and her daughter as we show you how to have a tea party. If you want to join us having a tea party, we invite you to grab your teacup and sit down and be a part of that whole day. Going forward, we'll also be, as Becky has said, we'll be bringing in different people that can read into more of the war story and tell you more about who we are, what we do, and why Circles of Protection are so incredibly close and dear to our heart. Now, we're getting close to the end of the video. And as my kiddos always say, Mom, you got to go hit the like button and subscribe. So if you're watching us on YouTube, go hit that like button and subscribe. If you're watching us on Facebook, please like the War page, like the War Chest Boutique page, but also comment below the video. If you comment and share this video with friends and family, we're entering you into a drawing to win the beautiful purple scarf that Becky has got on today, so that can be part of your new spring wardrobe. So don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share, comment. My kiddos know how to do it. Your kiddos know how to do it. If you don't, ask them. They will tell you how to do that, because that is the one thing they know how to do really well. But on behalf of myself, Becky, the entire House of War, and everyone that we constantly serve, thank you for entering into the House of War and being a part of our lives. And this does mean more.